try it later. We'll figure it out later. Can't do it now. Welcome back, JJ.
Hello.
I'll talk to you in like 3 minutes about Magic. So, sorry, Michael. Hello.
How's it going?
You haven't heard about us talking about Magic for like 3 minutes. So, we did
I'll flip my hourglass back over.
Yeah, we did do a Magic drafting thing on Friday, which will get edited after personal projects are over. Personal life, professional life. Some outside of this podcast life stuff gets handled. So because project, it's already being processed. Okay, great. They gave me a warning about it couldn't download the old episode. Wonderful. JJ, we'll start with Magic just for a second here. I think the problem with that set is that I don't enjoy any of the mechanics that much. Maybe Mobilize is interesting.
Okay.
I don't know.
What are the other mechanics that you don't enjoy?
It just seems like the 3-color thing of like cheat out dragon or like recur things from your graveyard that aren't hitting the board, like renew, It just seemed like the mechanics weren't as robust as the other ones in the set we drafted before. Foundations. I could be wrong. It just seemed like maybe I just didn't click with it, is what I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, that's possible,
I tried 3 drafts and it was okay. I didn't get any more than 3 wins in any of them, so meh. I think also with the Final Fantasy set looming, it's kind of like the wind is a little bit out of the sails on that.
I'm very curious how good the Final Fantasy set will be to draft. I kind of wonder if it will suck horribly, actually, and not be fun. But you never know.
I do never know. Michael's been subjected to having to read some of the Final Fantasy cards.
I mean, as a lover of Final Fantasy, I appreciate some of the things that they have done that are nods to the community.
Well, one of the things I didn't even notice, Michael, when we were looking at them together, was that Sid they did a Sid for every game.
Right. Yep. We saw that.
It's the same name on the card, which is important because that means you could normally only have 4 of them in a standard deck, right?
Okay.
It still means that. It did not change that.
Except that at the bottom of Sid, it says you can have as many Sids in your deck as you'd like.
He's still legendary, though.
You can only put 1 on the battlefield. That's true. Unless, in Commander or older formats, I guess you could probably cheat him out with some mirror or something like that.
Yeah, there's a few cards that let you bypass the legend rule, in which case then you could have multiple. But
very funny. Also, the rest of his text, Michael, is exactly the same. Every single one does the exact same thing. None of them are different.
Which if they were different, would make them different cards, and then they couldn't have the same name. So it's required that the text be the same.
It's just interesting. It's just a funny, very detailed nod, right?
Yeah, if you haven't played a Final Fantasy game, you'll be like, why are all these cards with the same name in different art?
The thing that I saw is interesting is that Sid from Final Fantasy VII has a separate card himself with a different name.
Well, Sid from Final Fantasy VII is one of the few that you actually get to play throughout the game, right?
Yeah. I think a lot of them are NPCs, whereas that guy is actually a party member.
Well, that might be why. Well, the cards seem interesting in themselves, in like their own little spaces. They seem fun. A lot of people are already talking about how busted some of the legendaries are as being commanders, which, a lot of that stuff ends up panning out later as not entirely true.
Yeah, the way every Magic pre-release cycle goes is they spoil a bunch of cards. People are like, wow, these are broken. And then people play with them, and then actually none of them, or very few of them, are broken. right? It's like very, or like the thing that happens sometimes is cards that get spoiled, no one pays attention to. And then once you actually start playing with them, you're like, oh, this card is busted. Like the best card from the Lord of the Rings set is Orcish Bowmasters, which is like,
yeah, amass orcs 1.
Dude, who even cares about that ability? The ability is it comes into play, deals damage, and then anytime someone draws a card, does it again.
Yeah. How about I mill you and then you draw more damage?
You have to actually draw the cards. You can't just mill them. But yes, it is insanely powerful because, you're forced to draw a card every turn, by the way.
Yeah. It was fun to just sort of page through them, though, while we were hanging at the beach there, Michael.
Yeah, it was a great day to be down at the beach. So JJ, I don't know if you guys got hit by the heat wave down there, but Saturday up here was quite toasty.
It was very hot Friday, and Saturday was warmer, but not as warm as Friday. But yeah, it was pretty warm this weekend.
Okay.
We had an interesting find at the beach. I don't know if it's because it's warm or because of what, but there were what were they called? They were called certain type of almost like jellyfish that were all over the beach with us.
They got a bunch of different names, but I think Velella is what they're actually called.
Velella. Okay.
Yeah, but they're more commonly known, JJ, as by the wind sailor.
Okay.
And they are little blue fringed oval shapes. But they have a little fin that stands up at 90 degrees to them on top, and it catches the wind and basically blows them across the top of the waves.
Got it.
But yeah, I read, Andy, that it was an unexpected shift in the tide pattern that caused so many of them to wash ashore.
I mean, it was hundreds of tiny little jellyfish all over
everywhere
the beach. Yeah. Yeah, you can get kind of itchy, I guess, if you touch them too much. But
yeah, most people, it said when I was reading, it said most people have a no reaction, but yeah, they do secrete a toxin that causes some people to itch.
Yeah, the beach this time did finally teach me that I am somehow not as young as I think I am.
How did that skimboarding go for you?
That skimboarding did not. It panned out about as well as when I tried to learn how to skateboard, which is I ended up on the ground. This time, though, it was in the sand, so something broke my fall other than pavement, which was nice. But I have a sizable bruise that will be there for weeks. Yeah.
One could say that none of us are getting younger on this podcast.
One might say that.
Could be implied. But I guess since Michael and I were at the beach cooling off, maybe JJ, you stayed indoors with a good book?
Nope. No, I did not. But I have been listening to some podcasts on my drives. I'm not sure what y'all are into podcast-wise these days, if anything.
This one podcast that dudes rarely talk about video games, even though it has gamers in the title.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty obscure.
I think a lot of my podcasts fall under that title, actually.
Old dudes talking about being younger.
And
then sometimes talking about
play
video games.
Yeah.
I know what got me started on this. I talked about playing the Suikoden remasters on here, right?
Absolutely. Oh, wait, we're talking about games.
Yay, you somehow snuck them into my Steam cart when I wasn't looking.
I didn't do that, but you're welcome. After playing those games, I've played them, a whole bunch of times, and the remasters are great. They just recently took a patch that removed the number one thing that I hate about them, which is the songs speeding up when you're in battle and fast forwarding. They removed that, which is awesome. So you can turn it off in an options menu now, which is great.
Excellent.
But I'd always heard that those games are based on a famous ancient Chinese novel called The Water Margin, and I had never like paid any attention to that or thought much about it. And then I don't know where I got it into my head. I was like, I should find out what that ancient Chinese novel is about. Like, I heard it's cool. Like, it's based on these stories that I love are based on it. Like, what's the deal with this thing? And some people were like, you should listen to this podcast called The Water Margin Podcast, where by this, he doesn't claim to be a historian, but he, references a lot of historians and other sort of, he has a ancient Chinese literature podcast, basically, where he like reads and retells these novels for the modern audience. So I've been listening to The Water Margin.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Does it remind you of Suikoden at all, or is it so different that it's kind of not the thing?
They're not the same thing at all, right? Like, it's a lot more like blood and sex and killing in the novel. Okay. They had to spice it up for the Sung dynasty, right?
Well, is that the modern? It sounds like something happened in the Padres game back there.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, so I'm sure I'll get a text sooner or later. But I don't know. The novel, I guess, at the time, it's from like 14th century or something, but then it takes place in like just after the 11th century. So this is like, people writing about the past, sort of mythologizing it, and so on.
Okay.
It's just interesting, like learning all the stuff about like, the stuff that clearly parallels, right? It's like, oh, they go to this tavern and the guys drug them and steal all their money or whatever. Like, that's definitely a thing that happens in the novel so far multiple times.
Nice.
Tati hit a walk-off 2-run home run.
Oh, hey, I'll take it.
Bottom of the 9th to beat the terrible Angels.
Well, you terrible Angels beat us with the grand slam yesterday, so I won't allow you to complain too hard.
Very funny.
But yeah, like it's really interesting, like learning. And then they have, he'll do like supplemental episodes in between. Each episode is like pretty strictly limited to 30 minutes, which is like very consumable.
Yeah. Perfect.
And he'll do supplemental episodes in between. It's like, okay, I talked about like Buddhism, like, cause like these guys are monks or some of them are, right? And it's like, what's the deal with that in this time period? Let's talk about it.
Oh, that's smart.
And he's like, oh, I spent a lot of time talking about money in this, like, because you can all different kinds of money and different denominations and what it's worth and all this stuff. And then he goes through a bunch of the economics of that and like how money was and what coins were and like silver and gold and what the worth of all this stuff was at that time. He's like, oh, I talked a lot about this game that they played. What's the deal with that? And then they talk through all that kind of stuff, right? And I think there's like 100 and something episodes that go through the whole novel, and I'm on like 30 something.
Is it finite, or does he just do a new season and start a new book?
The podcast ends when the book ends, and then there are other podcasts covering other books.
Fair enough.
Oh, okay. Cool.
This guy has a website called ChineseLore.com. I'll shout it out. And where he has a whole bunch of podcasts covering famous ancient Chinese literature. Of course, it starts with Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is also a Chinese novel, right?
Right.
Like the Chinese novel.
There you go. Very magic reference there for you. I know that that's stuff is not definitely. It's just funny because I was going to mention that's kind of very similar to the Ristic Studies vibe, which is like, yeah, we're going to talk about a card, but also we're going to talk about Italian history, or naming conventions in Greek mythology or whatever.
Well, and he does a good job of like, explaining, when they, and he like points out when the novel is like making judgments that are like different with modern reality or whatever, right? Like there's a lot of times where, a man's wife there's like a particular series of chapters where like a man's wife is carrying on an affair with someone, right? Oh. And he like goes out of his way to explain that like, hey, this is bad. And the novel portrays it as bad, but it's not like she had a lot of options here.
Mm-hmm.
And like she gets brutally murdered in the end by her husband's brother after she and her lover kill the husband. But
That's
then like
dark.
yeah, well, and it's like it's like, so what were the good options in this scenario for her, right? It's like conspire with the lover to kill the husband, and then her brother, who's the like one of the main character type guys, comes in and kills her. Do nothing, keep carrying on. The main character guy comes back from his like time away, and then he kills her. Right? It's like there aren't going to be a lot of good options for her in this scenario, right?
Yeah.
It's like run away and then not be used to the life, have no life, like be have to beg and, so, and, he points out where it's like, yeah, the novel is like, he's like, and then the novel goes on kind of like a misogynistic screed here, and we'll just skip over that. And he talks about like, I talked about those taverns where like, they would drug people and steal from them and stuff. They also apparently in this time period, like this, like the myth of this time is that there were these things called black taverns. Have you guys heard of this? It's like a kind of semi-common trope, apparently.
Does that have anything to do with like opium or anything, or?
No. The black part is like that they would drug you and steal from you, and then also kill you and chop you up into the food that the tavern serves other people, which they then drug to kill them.
Why would you go to these places?
You're an unsuspecting traveler in ancient China and you wanted some wine, man. I don't know.
Oh man. That's
also
horrible.
He mentions like they talk about wine a lot in the it's like, oh, they stopped at the tavern and had some wine or whatever. And he's like, but in this time period, when they say wine, they mean grain alcohol. Just FYI. So you're like, he's like, when they drink
blinding.
When they talk about drinking 6 cups of wine, that's a lot of alcohol.
Like blinding white lightning.
Yeah, potentially. So,
wow.
It's stuff that you wouldn't know if you just read and it said wine. You'd be like, oh, okay, they're drinking wine or whatever. It's like, no. Usually they're talking about grain alcohol. And you're like, oh, okay, that like makes this scene way different when this guy's like legendary warrior who drinks like 40 cups of wine and isn't drunk, right? Like that's a different thing.
God. That's funny. It's funny that you should mention like looking for stories, because I recently kind of did the opposite, where I was like listening to a lot of podcasts that I feel like I wasn't getting a ton out of. And I tried to, I keep that list all year, right? Of everything media wise, consumption wise, that's going in there, kind of like a diet log almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really helpful tool for like recalibrating mid-year now. I like every once in a while kind of look at what I'm consuming and being like, well, I'm listening to a lot of podcasts or whatever, but I'm not listening to a lot of audiobooks, or I'm watching a lot of TV, but I'm not watching a lot of movies, or I'm doing all these things, but not playing any games. And that got me onto listening to some more audiobooks instead of like as many hours. I'm still listening to a decent amount of podcast stuff when I work, but not as many hours. And putting those into listening to Andy Serkis narrate the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, the OGs?
The OGs, the three originals. I think he also has a reading of The Hobbit, if I'm not wrong. But very funny.
2 hours or something. The Hobbit's really short, right?
Yeah, it's pretty short. It's just pretty funny to listen to Gollum do voices for a bunch of different a bunch of different parts that he was in the movie.
Does he do voices for a bunch of the characters?
He does. He does voices for all the characters. Yeah, I have not yet heard him do a Gollum voice though, because that doesn't happen in the first book.
Right. Yeah.
Keep listening.
Yeah, very funny. But he does an approximation of what I would call like near to the movie voices. So like you can hear how he's trying to do like a more gravelly Ian McKellen.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny. Yeah. Well, if we're talking about our media diets, I think, JJ, you may have seen a movie that Michael and I wanted to, but don't have time yet.
I'm definitely interested to hear about.
I love all the things in terms of actors that this is about. I don't know much about the movie, but I mean, how was it? Did you like it?
Yeah, so I saw Thunderbolts asterisk or whatever their official title is for this thing.
Whatever their marketing is.
Yeah, I will say they do something with that at the end that I was like, oh, okay. You put an asterisk there, and it has like a meaning, and I was like, that's nice that they bothered to do that.
Okay.
It feels like they do stuff for no reason a lot of the time.
All right, so it does pick up after they come back from the snap because they're all snapped away characters, right?
I don't think that's when it picks up.
Oh.
But
Okay.
you are correct, I believe, that these were all snapped away characters.
Got it.
They don't really make a lot of mention of that.
No.
I don't know how up on the like stuff that happens in the movies and the other TV you are, so I don't know that I want to talk about the movie too much.
I'm not relatively current, honestly. Like, we've fallen somewhat behind on all this stuff. It's really hard.
So, I mean, we can talk about people that are in the movie, I think, without too many spoilers. What's her name? Florence Pugh is the main character, whose name I
Yelena.
forget. Yelena.
Yelena Belova.
Yeah. Another one of the Red Room people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I believe, what's her name's sister?
Yes, Black Widow.
Black Widow, yes. So we last saw her in the end of the Black Widow movie, I think.
Oh. Really? Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right.
That would have been after Hawkeye,
No,
right?
it was after Hawkeye. Yeah, because that's in my head. I'm like, no, wait, what about Hawkeye?
Yeah, I guess I don't remember when Hawkeye took place in relation to those things.
Well, so timeline-wise, Hawkeye's after Black Widow, right? Because she has already died by the time Hawkeye happens.
Right.
But Hawkeye is after everyone has returned from the snap?
Yes, because Yelena gets brought back.
Right. I'm trying to, man, this stuff's so hard to remember these days.
That I think is one of the cooler scenes that they've done in any of the shows is you do see her get brought back. She's inside.
Oh, it was in that.
Yeah, she's inside that apartment and disappears, and then you see her rematerialize, and the apartment has changed around her.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. Yeah,
Such
I remember.
a great scene.
Yeah, and then her friend is there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so she's in it. I think she does a great job in this movie. Like maybe one of my favorite Marvel performances in a while. Really good.
She stole that Black Widow movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she does, she acts like out of her mind considering what the what the Marvel usual level is. David Harbour is in it, and he kills it because he's
My
great in
guy.
everything he's in.
Well, his character was awesome also in that movie, I think.
Yeah, as Red Guardian.
Red Guardian.
He is so good. The character he plays is so goofy, and he's just like it seems like he's just having fun the whole time, which is great.
Yeah, just ham it up. That's his only stage direction, right?
Yeah. There's a few. Sebastian Stan is in it, and as Bucky, and I don't remember the name of the other two people who are people we've also seen before in TV stuff, but this might be the first time in the movies.
Was Taskmaster in it?
Do you actually want me to answer that question?
Well, there was some drama about Taskmaster being on the poster and then not being on the poster.
Taskmaster appears in the movie.
Okay, so they did not remove Taskmaster from the movie entirely, just from the poster for some reason. Weird.
I will say no more.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just interesting.
The other two heroes in it are U.S. Agent and Wraith.
Oh, Wraith.
Anti-heroes, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Like I
not
said, I think we've seen Wraith in some of the TV stuff before, right?
Yeah.
Was she not in?
Was she in the Black Widow movie too?
No, I was gonna say, was she in the? Wasn't she in the second Ant-Man?
Could be.
I thought so.
Okay, see, my memory is bad. But yeah, hold your breath, disappear thing. That's her.
Okay.
Yep. And U.S. Agent is the failed Captain America, right? We remember that guy from, I think, a TV show?
From the one that made Sam into Captain America.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was the name of that one?
You
Man,
can
there's
tell how
so
plugged
many-
in. You can tell how
Jesus.
plugged in we are.
Dude,
TV
there's
show,
so much
thumbs
of
up.
this stuff now. There's
TV
so
show,
much.
thumbs up.
You know what I mean? Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
It's like,
Okay.
yeah. It's got to be painful for Ken to listen to.
I'm sure he's mad.
Again.
He can continue to be mad. Anyway, I had a great time. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm not going to tell you anything about the plot because you should go see it or watch it later, and then we can talk about it at that time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we can kibitz about how I think I'm one episode away from finishing Picard, and then I could maybe watch Section 31, and then I think I've watched every Star Trek, everything in existence, and I really don't know how to keep going, JJ.
Well, there'll be a Strange New World season here sooner or later, right? So
Yeah, I just
you could just not watch Section 31 also. It's probably fine.
I think if we haven't done a Star Trek subspace transmission in a while, and I think it's just because of the sorry state that this franchise is in. And I don't mean to sound down on good acting, because most of the shows have decent acting, but the plots make no sense. And that season 3 of Picard got decent props for bringing back a lot of actors that were good actors and fun. But even still, I don't know if you remember, but I read that Discovery book that comes before the Picard show. I think, yeah, it was like a prequel book that comes before the Picard show. The third season of their own show that they wrote a prequel book for ignores the prequel book. Worf is supposed to be captain of the Enterprise.
Yeah, I mean, do you think they even read the book?
I was pretty certain that it was written in connection with what they wanted the plot of the show to be, so that they could have a background book. I don't know, man. It's just a little strange. Like, it's pretty strange. They just needed like another storyline for Rafi, so they brought Worf back for it instead of like thinking about why to bring out these other characters back. And it really just is very tiring for every season of every show in Star Trek to be about the end of the universe. And I think that's why people are loving Strange New Worlds so much.
The number one problem with Star Trek is the constant need to save the universe in it. That's 100% correct. Like, just stop it.
Which DS9 fell into, unfortunately, with the Dominion War. Although they didn't imply the universe would end, they just implied the Federation would end.
To be clear, they were the first ones that did it. And it was okay the first time. You can do it once or a couple of times, but not every time.
And I don't think that it was universe ending, right? It wasn't universe. No. It was just, okay, the Dominion will win and the Federation will go away.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't the end of all life, right? That's not
end of all life, end of all life, end of all the time, every time, end of all life. It's tired, man. It's really tired. Star Trek shouldn't feel this tired.
I mean, you could just not watch it, man. No one is making you.
I'm gonna do it because I'm a glutton for punishment.
I mean, I really suggest you don't watch the Section 31 movie. Like, I don't think there's any benefit, and you will not like it. It's bad.
From your experience?
Both from my experience and people on the internet.
Oh no, you watched it?
It's bad, dude. Don't watch it. I watched like the first 30 minutes and turned it off.
Michelle Yeoh? She couldn't hold it down?
Andrew, it's horrible.
Oh no. But our girl, dude, we stand her for so long.
She was good in the time that she was in the show when the writers were competent, and then they made this movie with other people, I guess.
Oh no. That's not good. I wonder who wrote the movie versus the show. That'd be fascinating to look up.
I wonder if any of the same people were involved at all, and the rumors about the movie were that it underwent like extensive reshoots and then re-edits to make it into a different thing too. So like it was a troubled production.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. The signs were not pointing good by the time it came out.
Oh,
HC
no. I see the director, and he directed some things that weren't my favorite, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Well, if
you could just remind yourself that didn't happen and just be like, I'm good. finish your Picard since you're a glutton for punishment, and then turn it off and be good for a while. Or go back and rewatch DS9 or TNG. Good shows.
Yeah, I gotta get back into the mood in order to do a subspace. But since we're talking about gluttons for punishment, maybe other types of gluttons might be having trouble as well. Michael, what's wrong with your stove?
Well, it's back to normal now. But yeah, so a couple of months ago, we got a letter stuck in our door from the apartment complex saying that they were going to be coming around apartment to apartment and installing a new device into everyone's stove. And the intent of the device, JJ, was that they would install it between your stove and the wall, and it would. I think it must listen for the for the smoke detector to go off, and if it senses the smoke detector going off for too long, and there was no definition of what that entailed in the one-page letter that they sent us, it will cut power to your stovetop, with the idea being that if you put something on the stove and fall asleep or walk away and forget that the stove is on, you're not going to accidentally start a fire and burn your apartment down.
I don't know how that really helps anything if there's already a fire going.
Yeah, it doesn't really fix it, but okay, I guess.
I'm sure it is a liability thing that they can claim some sort of discount or write-off for saying, we have these installed.
I'm sure you don't get a discount or write-off for it, though.
No, of course not.
Andrew, this is capitalism. No one, the stuff never flows down. The CEO gets all the money, and everyone else gets nothing.
Money goes one way.
Fair enough.
So yeah, yesterday was the first day that I had accidentally managed to set the smoke alarm off downstairs, and
What were you cooking? First of all,
I was cooking bacon, and I just let the pan get too hot.
The good old grease fire.
Yep. You know how it goes. So it got a little smoky, set off the smoke alarm, and yeah, within a minute, the power to the stove had cut off.
That's disappointing. So fortunately, it takes longer than that sometimes to shut that thing down.
Yeah, you would think so.
I mean, like, shutting off a smoke alarm can take a minute. You got to open all the doors. You guys have cats. You can't just open all the doors. You got to find the cats and then lock them up so you can open all the doors.
Yeah, pretty much. So, in the minute that I was standing underneath the smoke alarm, waving a towel at it to get
I was like waving. What were you waving?
Yep, you've all done it.
I was like,
it's usually a magazine.
Yep. Yeah, I had a dish towel to hand, so that's what I went with.
We got cookbooks nearby, so I use those.
Yep. So yeah, by the time I turned around, it took a half a second for me to be like, this pan has stopped sizzling like it was a minute ago.
Oh, because you're responsible and you turned it off when you turned away from the stove.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, yeah, I pulled it. You know, you pull it off the burner because it's smoking.
Right. Yeah. Stick it outside.
So yeah, now they were not super thorough in this letter that they provided us to give instructions on what you should do if you trip the device.
How to unlawyer your stove.
I was just about to ask, so what do you do to get the power back on?
Right. So I wound up having to go and look it up myself by Googling enough keywords to find the company that makes the device and then checking their website. You have to go to the breaker panel and shut off the breaker for your range for 5 to 10 seconds.
I'm sure the breakers are easy to find.
Fortunately, they are in our place.
Are they labeled?
With very poor handwriting. So yes, when my
As a
wife
person
looked first,
who has encountered this recently.
Yeah, she saw the 2 that were labeled kitchen, and then the other ones that were just kind of chicken scratch. So when I went up and looked at it, I was like, that says RA, and then some gibberish that might be 3 more letters.
JJ, I think that's very funny because I've also done the same panel swap you have done when we put in solar. And we went from a piece of taped information over old information that was all Sharpied on and nobody knew what was where in the house to when the electricians put that panel in, I was like, bring the tool and a label maker and tell me where every socket goes to in this house on that panel before you leave this house.
Yep. We also, the electrician, when it came to be inspected, was like, okay, I know you guys want to put labels on this, but I don't want you to touch it until it's been inspected. Then after it's inspected, go wild. Like, I don't care. Write all over it, whatever.
The electrician has a tool, man. Did you do it yourself?
What do you mean a tool?
So they have a feedback tool. So if you don't know where certain plugs are, they can.
No. We knew there was no concern about that. It was
ours
the
is
physical
so old.
labels. Like there was a thing that had a sheet of paper on it that had all the labels written on there.
You're in better shape than we were
because this panel is brand new.
Well, so our old panel was so misused and misaligned, and things had been moved around, so they didn't know where half the things actually were. So we had to trace them back when we did the new panel.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, this office is actually, this downstairs office is on the upstairs, other end of the house circuit somehow.
Yeah, ours was pretty straightforward from that regard. But I guess part of the code is they all have to be labeled, but they also then can't have extra stickers and stuff on them. And so while the label sheet is nice and on the little flap, we wanted to have them right next to the switch. So we would put the label on the middle next to the switch, right? But he's like, just wait after the inspection to do whatever you want.
Nice. Yeah. Well,
so hopefully you got that all fixed, Michael.
Yes, got it sorted. Stove is up and running again. Just kind of a nuisance.
Is your stove just electric or is it induction?
It is just electric.
I wonder if they're required if you have an induction stove.
That's a good question.
Huh. Good point.
Because induction can't burn stuff that's not,
contacting it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It has to be metal, right?
Yeah. It has to be magnetizable metal, even.
Right. Like you can put your hand on the burner on an induction stove and it won't burn you.
Right. Huh.
If you're wearing a watch, you might have a bad day, but
depends if you're wearing a plastic watch or.
True. Yeah. What kind of watch, right?
Yeah. That's a good question. That's how you know it's some sort of brain-dead insurance maneuver is if they require it for an induction stovetop. Oh man!
It's not like you're planning to go out and buy a fancy pants induction cooktop, and then also a bunch of new pots and pans, probably, right?
Also, Braindead Insurance Maneuver is the name of my Substack. If you want to
It's pretty good.
Yeah. As a person who has just went through their re-upped insurance premiums in California. Good Lord.
Oof.
Good Lord. I think we should set a gaming goal for next week. What do you guys think?
Okay.
All right. What are we trying to do?
I have been wondering about this for a little while. And I don't know if you guys are up for it. And it doesn't have to be for next week, but we could think about it. Maybe we come back to the podcast with the opening salvo of this plan. As a person that is slightly uninspired in playing anything except Magic the Gathering, I need a little bit of a nudge. What if we looked at each other's Steam libraries and picked each other's next games?
Hmm.
How do we feel?
I'd be willing to play another game while I think I'm slightly more inspired than Andrew.
Yeah.
But I was looking to maybe play that Claire Obscure Expedition 33 next.
Oh,
but,
so you're asking for whoever gets you to pick
well,
pick that game?
I don't have it. I would have to buy it, right? So
fair
that
enough.
would be a hard, but there's room in my life for multiple games. So
That's true. That's true. I don't mean I'm uninspired by games in general. I just feel like a little bit in a rut.
It's hard sometimes. You look at that. You've seen your library so many times and decided not to play the games that are still unplayed there in favor of something else, that it's hard sometimes to pick one from the list.
It's actually more of a reaction to the list, right? Like the last couple days, meaning weeks long days, not yesterday, have been like, I really want to watch this or watch that because I want to turn off Paramount or whatever. And a lot of the media consumption right now, I think this might go back to what we were talking about with Marvel. It all feels like homework. Like, oh, I want to turn off Paramount Plus, so I have to watch Picard. Oh, I want to turn off this, so I got to watch that. Oh, I got to catch up on Marvel because the new Thunderbolts movie came out. Oh, I got to catch up on this because, you know what I mean? It's a lot of it feels like homework, and I was kind of like almost feeling like picking a game felt like homework, even though it shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually video games are much better about this problem than TV is these days.
Really? How do you figure?
There's a lot more random backstory crap you have to remember to watch TV than you do to play games. Almost every game will like catch you up very quickly on what happened in the previous one if you're jumping in the middle for some reason, which you have no need to do. You could just start from the beginning.
Sure.
So like,
I think you're making an argument that most TV should be limited series.
I think even the like limited series now though are in like, seasons 3, 4, 5, whatever. And they don't
Yeah,
they don't recap you
because they were successful and they're like, oh, we should make another one.
Yeah, and they don't recap you at the beginning because no one jumps on in season 4, and they're gonna just like ride it out with their prestige television in medias res stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand the analysis paralysis, right? Like that part makes perfect sense. Like, oh my God, there's 10,000 things here. I have no idea what I want to do. It's easier to not pick. That part makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's the choosing is the hard part, right? The actual like the playing should not feel hard, or it doesn't feel hard to me anyway.
All right, so this is what we'll do. We'll say if we're in the middle of anything, and then each one of us will come with a suggestion. So you got to look at 2 libraries, and then you don't even have to take the suggestion. You can be like, no, I'm not interested in any of those. But maybe that it'll get the snowball rolling downhill.
That's a cool plan.
Okay. Well, stay tuned for. Oh man, next one's 450. This was 449. That's a fun little
Oh boy.
Easter egg for episode 450. The one where we choose.
Isn't a Friends episode.
Oh no. I don't get that reference. I never watched that show.
Every episode of Friends is titled The One Where blank.
Oh, maybe I picked that up through culture. I'm not saying
You very well may have.
Yeah. I probably picked that up through culture because I don't feel like I said it and it was unique. It just came off the top.
Have you guys ever seen those things where they post clips of Friends with the laugh track moved?
No. I can't say that I go around looking for Friends media pretty much at all. I don't.
Neither do I.
don't.
But stuff, bro, you link the weirdest stuff to me, so I don't know how you can say you just. I don't go around looking for this stuff. Meanwhile, you're posting me a clip of Magic the Gathering stuff and playing these boxes, basically, like stacked on top of each other in the stupidest format possible. How dare you?
First of all, how dare you?
But like, I think
that's a Tolarian Academy video. It's not even the Tolarian Community College video, isn't it?
No, definitely not.
No, it's definitely guys that I have seen on that show, though. And I think that's how I came across it.
That is probably true.
It's that one guy, I can't remember his name, and he loves to just needle the prof. Like, he brought a deck that's all cards that he went through every episode and found cards that prof said he hated and made a whole deck out of them.
That doesn't narrow it down.
Oh, that's true. They all do that, don't they?
But like, I think people, you go back and watch that show, and without the laugh track, I think that show wasn't very funny. Like, the stuff where it's like supposed to be a joke, it's just like awkward. They're just like standing there and they didn't say anything funny.
Huh.
Without the cue to laugh, you don't know it was a joke.
Oh, that era was all laugh track, though. You know, like Wings.
I just mean that, like, if without the laugh track telling me that they just made a joke, I don't know that I would know from the clip that it was a joke.
Fair enough.
I know the laugh track was the style, but like,
yeah, I mean, even Seinfeld had a laugh track. I would love
everything from the 90s and before did.
I wonder if Seinfeld would still be funny without a laugh track. Probably.
I feel like most of the situations in Seinfeld are so objectively hilarious. How could you not laugh, right?
Yeah. I wonder how close Seinfeld gets to Curb Your Enthusiasm without a laugh track. Right? It seems more lighthearted when there's a laugh track versus like I think George might come off much more like Larry David.
A lot meaner, right?
A lot meaner without people laughing. I think it'd still be funny because Seinfeld's always just got a little wise grin on his face the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That one might be more culturally interesting to me than Friends because I don't know. I've never attracted to that style of show. That style of show reminds me of The Big Bang Theory. You know, it's just popcorn.
Have we discussed on this show before that I think The Big Bang Theory isn't funny either?
I think we would all maybe agree with that. I don't know about Michael. I tried watching it once.
I find it has its moments.
Oh.
Yeah, a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
At episode 450, the one where we choose a new host for Michael's chair. No, I tried watching Big Bang Theory, and I felt like it was actually somewhat even mean-spirited about
100%.
the people that it was claiming to
it's like,
be supporting.
I think they're like, oh, these lovable nerds, and then like the jokes are actually at their expense the majority of the time.
Yeah.
And even in the cases where they're making jokes, you know, with like, you know, we're in on it, everything is cool here, they are punching down on other people like them. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I think Andy's right. Like, it's not actually like fun. They actually do think these people suck.
One of the problems with laugh track shows too, I think, is that they probably don't land a lot of jokes because they're waiting for the laughs to die down. So if you just yanked the laugh track out, there's going to be a lot of weird pauses and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. I wonder if, you know, Time Machine, you go back and you have them do the take without the laugh track there. If the delivery is snappier or whatever, or the comeback comes on without a pause and then it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely could be.
Maybe.
We'll never know. And that's okay. In the meantime, if people want to throw game suggestions at us, Michael, where would they do that?
They could send that to podcast@weweregamers.com.
Okay. Or find us on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
YouTube, Blue Sky.
Yeah.
We Were Gamers on all those places.